Welcome back to tutorial time. Now we got quadrants. This is assuming that you have a Nicodat extracted with a seamless folder, which is just the normal extraction, and then what makes it better, if you have a resource one for collisions, you can find the collision div 16, and all the collisions will be in here. So to start out, we're just gonna get edited terrain, like F4, into the game. So we have our F4 folder here, we're just gonna get rid of all these. Um, It's the same process most of the time. So we have our NMO to Lightwave here. Open this up in a working folder. /NMO to Lightwave /I. This is a review. You're going to be using the home, first two words here, and then it's going to deal with all these extra locations after. There's also the layers. 0 is for high quality, 1 is for low quality. We're not going to worry about that right now, so we're just going to put this straight in. And what that will do is it'll create our mesh that we're going to use. Other things, if you do /q f4, if it's off the origin, like if it's like somewhere else further, and you want it to be centered in Blender, you're gonna want to set up a quadrant part of it, and that's just saying it so it can translate it back to the origin, so you can edit it in the center without having to move your camera everywhere. So quadrant f4, and I'm just gonna do the standard P, C, and TO for textures. And that's it, I believe. I'm pretty sure this one also has the layer select. So if you want to grab the low detail layer as well, you can specify that with /L. So we have our Lightwave file right here. So I'm just going to open that up real quick. Of course, you can always do this in Lightwanda and old Blender. Opens up, we have our quadrant. As always, make sure to remove doubles. I'm going to get rid of this lamp and put in a MI so we can see everything. And now we have our quadrant. So what I'm going to do right now, this works the same as normal model modding. You have your materials, you have everything else. You don't have to worry about vertex groups or anything like that. You have your Z alpha R channels. And so what I'm just going to do, I'm going to add a cube, as you do. So I'm just going to add it, let's just stay right here, right in front of the shrine. Put a little cube here, triangulate it, make sure it's usable. I'm going to set it to one of these textures. You can use whatever texture's in here. And then we can, just going to unwrap that so we can actually see it. What's wrong with this texture? Why are you not unwrapping? Sure, let's just do that. We have a cube with the texture on it. That's all you need. And it's like a normal model. You can just edit it however you want. You can add more to it. Nothing really goes bad. As long as you're in this area, it will mesh well as well. You also have to deal with the vertex painting, because if it doesn't mesh well with the other ones if it's not done properly. So I'm just gonna add a little bit of that just to show that we can, in fact, influence it. So some of these sides will be darker than the rest. Z alpha as well, if you want transparency on grass edges as well. So that's how they do materials. So right now it doesn't blend that well because old Blender can be a little weird, but you see there's Z alpha on the sides here, so it'll blend with the rest of the grass and stuff. So we have our edited thing right here. So what I'm going to do is export it back to Lightwave in the folder. I'm just going to call it deth. So here's the thing. Naming conventions. In the game, it's labeled as home home, but when we're going to throw it back in, just worry about the quadrant name. Because it won't work if you call it home home when you're throwing it back in, you call it by the quadrant name. So it's just going to be F4, F4. So we have a exported Lightwave of this terrain, and it's still in one piece. All these are in separate pieces, and that's what we combined with it. Did I export that to the right spot? F4, F4. Come on, Blender, you got this. All right. There we go. So now on our conversion back, we can see here, quadrant E4, convert to seamless chips. So what we're going to do, quadrant C4, you say what quadrant you're using. So you have, A through whatever in 0 through 9 or whatever. And then you can just do C at the end and that will cut it. Also, you're going to set the layer number. So if it's like the low detail or high detailed one, you're going to need to set both if you want it to load at all distances. Alpha versions, all that stuff. So what we're going to do, we have our thing here. We're going to go to, it's not the right folder. We have /lightwave 2 nmo /i f4 f4 lightwave /q f4c. So what it's going to do is it's going to say it's on the f4 quadrant and we're going to cut it up into chips. That's what the C command right here does. And then we're going to add an optional layer 0. It defaults to 0. So I'm just going to put that there because that's already what it is. But that'll do. So cut it up. So now that we have our layer 0 cut up, right? We can go into our PCSX2 host UO dat. And then the naming convention of this is seamless test. I don't know why it's called test. That's just what it is in the game. See your seamless test, and that's what works. And then you're going to go into whatever your quadrant is. So it's going to be F4. Open that up. We're just going to put these in. And so what I'm also going to do is I'm going to create a layer 1 version of that as well. And what that will do is that'll deal with all the quality versions. So like when you're farther away, it'll load a different version of it. So we're going to boot it up. Boot ISO. This might not work because of the loading of a test stage for Pyder. The old T-boss. Yeah, I don't think this is going to load. Yeah. I need to reset my debug parameters so it works. Yep, okay. We're in. And we have a cube. So that's all well, right? We wanted this. It's exactly what we wanted. But you realize no collision, right? Also, don't mind all the debug stuff I have up right now. I had to reset my debug stuff so this quadrant loaded properly. You won't have to worry about that. So, we have that. Works fine. Now, we need to figure out a way to do our collision. And for that, you're going to want an eco data extractor with resources, which I've shown how to do in the extravaganza of resources. So you'll go to collision div 16, and you're going to look for the quadrant that you want. So we have, for it'll be called home home. You can always look on the wiki to see what things are called for arenas. It won't tell you file names, but it'll tell you what you want to see. E, F, G, H. Home home. See that? Put that in here. I'm going to grab. Just go here. CLB to Lightwave. You're also going to need that and Lightwave to CLB. So we're going to go both ways. So CLB to Lightwave, see if I can remember how this naming structure goes. You can always just pull it up with CLB to Lightwave and see what's going on here. I'm pretty sure they give an example. Convert values. Let's just run it. CLB to Lightwave /i. I'm going to go with home Col. See if that works. Nope. Dot CLB. Nope. Okay. What's current directory? Oh, okay, without the underscore. There you go. Now we have our Lightwave file for the collision, right? We can import that with folder that we're at. Same Lightwave format as usual. You can see all of our collision that we want. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab our cube here. I'm going to duplicate it. P separate by selection. Now we have a separate cube. I'm just going to hide our original arena. I'm going to delete all the extra data on this that we don't need because it's collision. Might take a lot of clicking. Okay. We also don't need UV maps or vertex colors. I'm just going to join it straight up. It's joined. Now if we go to our material view, I believe, yep, you can see all the different collision types here. And I'm just going to set it to whatever seems right. What is happening with our view right now? That's on, okay. As always, remove doubles. So we have our cube here. It has this collision type. I'm just going to set it to a grass type. Just select it all that it is. You can always just click it, else like that. And then shift clicked in face select. It'll go to a material type and just assign it. So now we have that. We have our collision. It's changed. And export that back out. Home.lightwave. Then on the way back, they give you an example one, I'm pretty sure. Yep. Cut to a seamless train file. A little bit of CB, path to file, T111. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of all of these because we already did all of our stuff we need for that. I'm going to go here, lightwave to CLB /I home.lightwave. And then T, I think it's, we can just always just look this back up and check. TS11, well, T111. Oops, what's that going on? Alright, that's it. Now we have our collision here, and where we're going to put it is in host UO. That's not that. PCS62 host UO dat. And then we're going to create one called col div 16. It follows the same naming structure as the actual game itself. Or that this goes in. Yeah. It goes into resources col div 16. My bad. Resources col div 16. And then we're going to call one called F4. I'm going to check something real quick, make sure that I'm thinking the naming structure is right. I'm just going to see if this matches. Yeah. So it's not going to follow the quadrant name structure, it's going to follow the arena name structure, or whatever it originally was called. So we're going to not have that folder, actually, and we're just going to throw it straight in. Now, when we boot up the game, we will hopefully have collision. Cool. Just grab the player real quick. Yep, now we have collision. That's all there is to it. At least for ones that fully have terrain in places. Still trying to figure out the other situations. See ya.